That's a motherfucking no-no. It's just another episode. Get your popcorn ready. We let the chopper explode. Hold the trigger finger steady.
What's up, everybody? How we doing out there today, ladies and gentlemen? It's yours truly, Triple Beam, and you are my youngest and my OGs. Welcome to my crib. I got a stack line up of topics for you today, guys. First and foremost, got to talk about the deal that's been shaking up the football world. Saquan Barkley's John Hancock on the contract with the New York Giants. This is no ordinary contract, folks. It is, I was going to say it's a game changer, but it is really more of the same with these running backs, and we'll break down the angle and we'll analyze that impact that it's going to have on the future of that position in the NFL. We're going to dive head first into this debate right here, guys, as we talk about Saquan Barkley, the running back for the New York Giants, signed his deal today. I also got a question for you guys that's going to be coming up later dealing with the running backs. So we're going to ruffle some feathers and we're going to talk about the showdown between the legends of the past and the present. And I'm going to be dropping who I think is the greatest running back of all time. But before we get too caught up in the football frenzy, we got some basketball news to cover as well. And I'm finna get right into that, man. This is breaking news. The millennial GOAT, I guess you would call him, LeBron James, his son, Bronny James, has been hospitalized, and we got our thoughts and our prayers on LeBron James, and we're going to get right into that breaking story right now, so just bear with me for one moment while I get to this story.
That's a motherfucking no-no. It's just another episode. Get your popcorn ready. We let the chopper explode. Hold the trigger finger steady. We go handle our business, get the fuck up out your feelings. Handle our business.
Okay, so here we go, guys. Back to the story of the young baller. Bronny James suffers cardiac arrest during USC workout. This story is via TMZ. LeBron James' son, Bronny, was rushed to a hospital. Let me see if I can pull this up on the screen where we can get a little bit of this news. This is courtesy of TMZ and DJ Academics. So what we have here is we have Bronny James suffers cardiac arrest during USC workout. Story via TMZ. LeBron James' son Bronny was rushed to a hospital after suffering cardiac arrest during a basketball workout. A James family spokesperson tells TMZ Sports yesterday while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff was able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He is now in stable condition and no longer in ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family, and we will update media when there's more information. The spokesperson continues, LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. So that's some breaking news, guys, and that's something that we didn't expect. That's something no one really probably thought was, a guy like, LeBron and his son, Bronny. Nobody really thought that, you would be having to deal with an issue like this. We've seen former athletes having to deal with this with their son. When we think back to Sharif O'Neal having to deal with his heart issue when he was back, before I think it was before he went to LSU, and he had to deal with that whole ordeal, but he was able to bounce back. And I think he did sign a deal with the Lakers for the G League, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But back to Bronny, I know that's a setback, you know what I'm saying, in his hoop dreams and his career. And listen, having to deal with something like that as a parent, you know what I'm saying? When you know, LeBron, Savannah, you know, I know, you know, their siblings, you know, having to go to the hospital, having to get the news in the beginning, then having to rush to the hospital to try to see what's going on, man. I know it's just devastating, you know what I'm saying, to hear news like that, especially when it's your child. You know what I mean? We wish for a speedy recovery for Bronny. And I got more news. I got more takes on Bronny and LeBron, and we'll get to that on another time. But right now, our thoughts and our prayers go to the James family and hope for a speedy recovery for the young King Bronny. Now, with that being said, guys, we off to the next topic, and I'm talking about Saquan Barkley inks the deal with the New York Giants. That deal is for 1 year, and it is worth about $11 million for Saquan Barkley. So, I really can't get too excited about this deal because, you know, I know that it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? And people look at it like, what do I have to do it? Like, I don't have anything to do with it. It's just about, for me, it's like, you know, fairness for each position. You know, I'm a big advocate on that. Some would say fair is a place where you judge pigs. I get that. But at the same time, we want to show a level of respect, you know, to this position and to the guy that's playing that position, because it's been so devalued over the years. And then now you got to look at it. You may have somebody that's coming up playing that position. You know what I'm saying? And what the NFL has to look at is the impact that it's going to have on parents and players in the future leaning to that position. They're going to be trying to move away from that position. You know what I mean? And they paying these guys like they running backs, but at the same time, you don't want to pay them according to what other players is making. Okay. But not only because they play running back position. But you got to realize most of these running backs, they're in the passing game as well. They're out lined up in the slot. They're out lined up wide trying to get mismatches with linebackers. These guys are running routes. So not only are they running backs, they also are receivers. Okay. And not only that, doing the passing game when they're not out running routes, what are they doing? They are sitting up here trying to block 300-pound nose tackles, okay, that's coming at them full speed. So not only are they doing wide receiver work, they're also doing offensive lineman work. So really, to be honest with you, these guys are premium on the field. They should be getting paid more than anybody, if you ask me, or just as much. So what I'm saying, though, is the market is not right for the running back position. We know that quarterbacks are valued in the NFL more than any other position. We get that. I think cornerbacks are the most skilled players on the field. I mean, everything they have to do, they have to be able to do it backwards, while you as a receiver or a running back, you're doing it full speed going forward, and the cornerback has to be just as fast going backwards. So I think that's the most skilled position. So their pay, I get that. Quarterbacks pay, I get that. They're the leader of the team, the franchise player, blah, 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 whatever. I get that. But also, some quarterbacks deserve those 35, 40, $45 million a year deals. Some quarterbacks deserve it, and I think others don't. I think that these other guys, like a Daniel Jones, is benefiting off of the play and the contracts of guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Lamar Jackson, guys who actually go out there and ball out and deserve those type of deals. You know what I mean? When you look at Lamar Jackson and you rank the players on the Baltimore Ravens, you can actually say Lamar Jackson is the best player on that team. He deserves to get that money. And shame on Baltimore for making him wait so long to get his deal. Patrick Mahomes, the best player on Kansas City. Okay, you can go so far and so on with the quarterbacks at that top tier level. But once you get to the Giants and when you get to Daniel Jones, you cannot sit up here and say that Daniel Jones is the best player on the Giants and he deserves $40 million. No. For me, Saquon Barkley is the best player on that team. He deserves that. He deserved that $40 million contract, if you ask me. And let's just say, okay, you want to devalue the position as as on a business standpoint, for its injuries and so forth and so on. We get that, and you want to value it based on the future and that. Okay, but what about some of these other positions that get paid, and everybody on the field has the potential to get hurt? We get that, but they're not being penalized contractually for a potential injury that they might have in the future. They're not being penalized for that. Only the running back position is. Okay, so we got a solution. I have the solution for that. The solution for that is what you have to do is, for instance, we're going to stick with the Giants because that's the freshest scenario that's on everybody's mind right now. You take a Daniel Jones and you take a Saquon Barkley. And when you combine the franchise tag that they offered Saquon Barkley was a little over $10 million. Okay, combine that with the contract that Daniel Jones is going to be getting paid, what he's getting paid this year, $40 million. What you do is these guys depend. Well, Daniel Jones is dependent on Saquon Barkley. That contract should be split in half. It should be $50 million. It should be $25 million to Daniel Jones, $25 million to Saquon Barkley. Okay. And we could have year options after each season. It could be an option for 1 year. And obviously, if you're going to decline the running back position, that next year, that 1 year option, it goes down from the $25 million that they split. It goes down from 25 to the next year to 20. Okay, and then Daniel Jones, since you believe in him as a quarterback and you want to give him that long term, you could have made his options at 4 years. You could just say you don't even have to do Daniel Jones an option. Just do him a 4-year contract at $25 million the first year, 30 the second year, 35 the third year, 40 on the fourth year, and that's it. On the other hand, on the flip side, since you want to say that the running backs decline so fast, you give that running back who's earned it, like a Saquon Barkley, over 1,300 yards rushing last season, a career high. You give him the $25 million the first year, the second year option at $20 million, the third year option at 15, and the fourth year at the 10-year where you want the running backs to be all along, or something that looks like that. That's the way you resolve that, man. When you got running backs like that who are absolutely the best player on their teams, I mean, you got to split the money up between the quarterback and that running back position. Look at Josh Jacobs over there in Las Vegas. You got Josh Jacobs and the quarterback, which was Derek Carr. We know that Derek Carr is not a $40 million quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo, with so much disrespect he had from the media and everybody disrespecting his play, he's not $40 million worth of quarterback. So what you do is you split that money, the running back, the quarterback, you add it up. If you got $35 million for Daniel Jones and you got $11 million for Josh Jacobs, you add that money together, that's $46 million, you split it. You got 23 apiece. 23 for the quarterback, 23 for the running back for the first year. The second year goes down for the running back. The second year goes up for the quarterback. And I think that is the way to resolve that issue. Because otherwise, the whole landscape of the game is going to change. You're going to have running backs trying to redefine their roles and redefine their positions in order to increase their max amount of earning potential on some of these teams. But that's my solution to that, guys. And I'm going to move on from that because, like I said, man, we could talk about this for days. And the running backs had the meeting over the weekend. Obviously, they were just trying to get together. It was basically they were just trying to get together and have a little therapy session to kind of talk about, some of the things that that they're going through at that position. And what's funny is, and this is the funny thing to me. You have a rookie running back coming in from Texas, Bijan Robinson, and he's set to be the highest paid running back in the NFL as a rookie, not even proving himself yet at all. And he's going to be making more than Saquan Barkley? What? Are you kidding me? This is absolutely ridiculous. So I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think that that market needs to change for the running backs. Because you got a guy like Saquon Barkley, who's the absolute unquestioned leader of the New York Giants and that offense. He coming to the building. It's hard for the rally the troops. It's hard for you to rally the troops and get people to follow you. Okay, when your pockets ain't matching some of the other guys. You got cornerbacks that make more money than you. You probably got a safety that makes more money than Saquon Barkley. You probably got 2 or 3 linemen that make more money than Saquon. Okay, you got receivers that make more money. The quarterback, you can't tell him nothing. So here it is. You got 10, 12, 15 players on this team that you financially can't even do what they do. Now, how you going to lead these boys and be like, hey, y'all follow me? It's going to be tough to do. Obviously, you can show and lead by example. We get it. But, man, at some point, dudes is like, man, get your ass the fuck out of my face. I just came in on a helicopter, nigga. Fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, the dynamics is off. You know what I'm saying? And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there, and from there we're gonna talk about this right here. I got a question for you guys. Let me know. Who do you think? Since we're talking about running backs and how they devalued the position now, but let's go back in the history, also in the present, and let's see who is the greatest running back of all times. Wow, so that's gonna be a tough question. Obviously, we got guys like Jim Brown, the great Jim Brown. Okay. We got Sweetness, you know what I'm saying? HBCU, Jackson State, you know what I'm saying? Walter Payton. We know what he was able to do. It's a shame. It's a shame that Coach Dicker didn't give Walter Payton the ball in that Super Bowl and gave it to the boy Refrigerator Perry at the 1 yard line. That's a shame. We all know it. Chicago Bears fans. Y'all know what we talking about. Y'all know it. Sweetness. He was hurt by that. He wanted to get him a touchdown in the Super Bowl, but he's a champion, one of the greatest to ever do it. Is he the greatest of all time? We have the likes of Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders. Man, there's so many different running backs that you could put up into that conversation. You could even put guys like LaDainian Tomlinson. You know what I'm saying? Is the greatest of all time. I know people, when you hear LT, a lot of people is not going to just automatically jump him up there in that conversation because you got so many greats. You got Emmitt Smith, you got Barry Sanders, you got Walter Payton, and you got Jim Brown. For me, those are the top 4. I guess you could throw LT somewhere in that conversation, late in the conversation. Adrian Peterson somewhere late in the conversation. And I ain't even got stats in front of me. But we know the history of the Cleveland Browns, and they would not even be Cleveland Browns. When you see Cleveland Browns, any moment and any time, throughout history and until now, you're going to think about Jim Brown. You're going to think about Jim Brown. When you think about Chicago, you're going to think about the 85 Bears. You're going to think about Walter Payton. Till this day, you're going to think about Walter Payton. Till this day, when you think about Detroit Lions, you're going to be thinking about Barry Sanders running that football. You're going to be thinking about Emmitt Smith and what he was able to do. All-time leading rusher in the NFL. Absolutely astonishing what Emmitt was able to do, being the size that he was and how physical he was and how he ran the football, the vision that he had. Okay. For a guy his size, it was astonishing. Like, he was a different type of running back, like something almost like we haven't seen that stature and that makeup able to have the career and the longevity that he did. Now back to Barry Sanders. If Barry Sanders was able to get his contract situations with the Detroit Lions, we may be having a completely different story. It could be Barry Sanders and nobody else. You know what I mean? But with that being said, for me, the greatest running back of all time, I'm going to have to give it to the hometown. I'm going to have to give it to the HBCU, the Jackson State alumni. I'm going to have to give it to the Super Bowl, 85 Super Bowl champion Bears. I'm going to have to give it to the great Walter Payton, the greatest running back of all time, in my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Who's the greatest running back of all time? Leave it in the comment. Let me know. Next up, we're going to stay with the NFL, y'all. We're going to stay with some football news, guys. We're going to stay with it. Got another question for you. This is coming out of the AFC North. Lamar Jackson got his money. He got a great weapon in Odell Beckham Jr., okay, coming out of free agency. Super Bowl champion with the Rams. I don't think they win the Super Bowl. I don't think they even get to the Super Bowl without picking up Odell Beckham that season. He was phenomenal for them. After winning the Super Bowl, he went into free agency, sat out for a year. Now he's back with the explosive, elusive Lamar Jackson. Lamar finally has him a weapon, deep threat that he could throw the ball to, a safety valve that he could get the ball out to. In Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, so my question to you guys is, will the Baltimore Ravens win the AFC North? Will the Baltimore Ravens win the AFC North? And I know it's early. Season haven't even started. But we're talking about right now, as these rosters are currently constructed. Will the Baltimore Ravens win the AFC North division? Let's take a look at some of the teams in the AFC North. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns. The chances for Baltimore to win the AFC North, and a lot of people want to try to give them the nod, their chances are just as good as any. Their chances are just as good as any. I'm going to tell you right now, this division is just about as tight as any other division in the NFL. We know what Pittsburgh is capable of, and that's simply because of the ownership and Coach Mike Tomlin. He's never had a losing season. Never had a losing season since he been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So with that being said, we know that these guys are going to win at least 9 games, 8 to 9 games. That could possibly put them in the playoffs. That will actually get them close to being division champs. We know we just booked the Steelers with an 8-game season. We could just book it. Even with Kenny Pickett, who's unproven, he hasn't done much in the NFL. Okay. They have a great running back in Najee Harris. Okay. And like I said, they're being led by the Hall of Famer Mike Tomlin, future Hall of Famer Mike Tomlin. So you go from Pittsburgh, then you go to Cincinnati. Cool Joe quarterback, Joe Burrow. Got Jamar Chase, who people are saying that he's the top receiver in the league, and I think that's disrespectful. Because what people do is they go and they get this new toy, which is Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, new toy, young guys, and they just summarily dismiss and forget about the veterans like Devontae Adams. Okay? Like, no, you can't just say Jamar Chase. You just forgot about Devontae Adams all of a sudden? Okay. I think D-Hop might have something to say about all of this. Jamar Chase, yeah, he's a shiny new toy. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, we get it. They're young. Okay? But I'm not going to say that Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the NFL. I can't get that far yet. I need to see a little bit more. But he is good and he is explosive and he is a weapon for Joe Burrow. So you got the Cincinnati Bengals. Then here is the sleeper in this division. The Cleveland Browns. Now, what they got in Cleveland Browns, don't forget the play of their quarterback before he came from Houston. Don't forget the play of the quarterback before he came from Houston. What he was able to do. He was one of the elite quarterbacks in the league at that time. He got into a little trouble, had to sit out for about a half a season. We get that. Had to sit out for about a half a season. Accused of sexual misconduct by dozens of women. And after that controversy was over, was this guy practically hit the lottery. He hit the lottery by winning the sweepstakes and the Cleveland Browns guaranteeing him $230 million to play the position. This guy is going to have something to say about the state of Cleveland Browns affairs in Cleveland in the AFC North this season. I'm telling you, you better look out for the Cleveland Browns. They have a running game. They have one of the best running backs in the game, Nick Chubb. So I'm telling you, the Browns is coming. So who will come out of the AFC North? Will it be the Baltimore Ravens? That's the question. That's what everybody is saying. Because of Lamar, because of Odell. Nobody's talking about the Cleveland Browns right now. But remember, I said it, the Cleveland Browns will be the sleeper out of the AFC. I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland won that division. You got to remember the great Hall of Fame running back. Okay. The great Hall of Fame running back, Jim Brown, passed away this year. So this season, I'm pretty sure is going to be dedicated to their Hall of Famer. And he bled orange and brown. He bled that burnt orange. You know Jim Brown. He represented it all the way to the day he died. and he did it well. But I'm going to tell y'all, this season will be dedicated to Jim Brown. Nick Chubb will rush for 2,000 yards, and I think Cleveland Browns win that division, and I don't think that the Baltimore Ravens will win the AFC North, and that's just my take on that. Let me know what y'all think. Who comes out of the AFC North as division champs? Let me know. All right, we're moving right along here. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the show. We're going to wrap it up right now. I'll be back with more topics, more takes, more sports topics, more entertainment topics on Welcome to the Crib. I'm your host, Triple Beam, my youngest, my OGs. I'm out.
No, it's just another episode. Get your popcorn ready. We let the chopper explode. Hold your trigger finger steady. We go handle our business. Handle our business. Handle our business. Get the fuck up out your feet. Handle our business. Handle our business.